Jeremiah V, let's enhance the world. Say no more. Say what? Say no more. Today, I'm going to be talking to you guys about my experience working at Amazon 4 times. Technically, I actually worked at their facility 3 times. 4 if you include the time I was supposed to work there. And let me tell y'all, that's gonna be the last time I've ever worked at Amazon as an employee. I would never ever work there ever again. But before I get into this story on my experience working at Amazon, I just want to let you guys know and introduce myself. If you're not familiar with who I am, my name is Jeremiah V. I'm a vegan and lifestyle blogger, and what I do is I do a lot of food reviews at vegan related restaurants or restaurants that have vegan related items, and I basically give my take on them in a very comedic way, and I do lifestyle videos as well, bringing and building awareness to who I am and using the revenue that I receive to invest in business ventures and make an impact for the world at an economic level in a very comedic way. So that's who I am. All right. Disclaimer before I get into this video. I like Amazon as a company from a consumer standpoint. It's one of my favorite companies. I think Jeff Bezos and their team are very innovative and very creative when it comes to them delivering their product and delivering their services and bringing awareness to their platform and their brand. Which is why it's one of the most successful and fastest growing companies in history. So kudos to them for that. But I'm going to be talking about them from a consumer standpoint. They made a lot of people a lot of money from a business standpoint. If you're a contractor for them, if you're a business owner that just sell products on their platform, or if you're just like a delivery contractor or something like that, they are great for that. And people you can even argue that they're good for as an employee if you want to work for them, because they pay really well. And we're gonna get into that down the line. They pay really well, so that's good too, to an extent. But they treat their employees like they're numbers, and I can't stand that. So let me get into the video. All right. Let's start back in 2014 or 2015, one of those years, but let's just say 2015 to be on the safe side. That's when I originally started working at Amazon, the first time. I'm from Cincinnati, and if you're not familiar with Cincinnati and Kentucky, Hebron, Kentucky, are 30 minutes away from each other. It's literally across the bridge. Depending on where you at in Cincinnati, it may even be less than 30 minutes. So I was working for Amazon in 2015, and I was desperate. At the time. I really needed a job. I needed some money coming in because me and the girl that I was with at the time, she really held me down, where I decided to pursue my dreams and do this business thing, right? So I went in, didn't know what I was doing. I decided to quit the job that I was working at, that I was miserable at, to pursue entrepreneurship full time or whatever. Didn't know what I was getting into. Long story short, it didn't work out. I had to get another job. So I started working there for about a month or two, and I was in this department people referred to at the time, I don't know if it's changed now, but at the time it was called RF processing. If you're not familiar with that department is pretty much where people who return items go to. The items will go there, right? And this is in Hebron, Kentucky at the time. So I would basically get the items, look on the computer, scan the items or the box, the barcode or whatever, see what the item is on the screen, and then open the product to see if the item that was supposed to be on the screen is in there, and if there are any damages to that item. If there are any damages to that item, I have to mark it as damaged, put it down the conveyor belt, and so on and so forth. Every person on the line or that assembly line had a role and checking different things, and that was what I did. I pretty much checked the item, make sure that I processed the right item. If it was damaged, you damaged. if it was a certain product that was considered hazardous, or if it had glass or something like that, I had to mark it accordingly. Okay, and you had to, you had a rate. You had to do it at like a certain, you had a certain incentive. Like you have a certain rate that you have to process on an hourly basis and stuff like that. And I'm not good at that kind of stuff because I have a learning disability where I grasp on to certain things really slower than a lot of people. So those are always tough for me to do depending on what it is, right? I'm not good in that area. I'm good at a lot of other things, but processing things, paying attention to detail, identifying numbers and sequences ain't never been my strong suit. But I did it anyway because, like I said, I needed the money, and I was working there for about a month in that department. Now, for the most part, it was alright. It wasn't like totally bad, right? Until they moved me to another department. Now, this department absolutely sucked. I can't remember the name of the department because it was so long ago. But essentially, this is the department where you get heavy shit, where you get big furniture, you process it. They real big. They real big on safety. So there was always a person that would help you lift the item or whatever. But I was so exhausted. I don't like working for other people as it is. So this would just made it worse for me, right? So I'm processing it, and I was going so slow because I was so exhausted from lifting this shit all the time. I started getting write-ups. Like I started getting write-ups, and after so many write-ups, they would terminate you. That's one thing they do very well at, is they would terminate you for doing anything. They look at you like numbers, okay? Now, like, again, I'm not trying to shit on them, but I'm just telling you from experience, they would terminate you in a heartbeat, because the fastest they got you in, because they're always hiring, is the fastest way they can get you out as well. You come in fast, you leave out fast. That's their motto, based on actions, right? So I was getting ready to get terminated. Strange enough, I was also getting ready to get converted. So it was just like, that lets you know at the time, I was through this company called SMX too. So at that time, that lets you know like how organized they were. They're very organized when it comes to terminating you and adding your points and stuff like that. They real organized when it comes to that. But when it comes to getting the right training and stuff like that, and figuring out what your strength is, because everybody, I know this is a business, right? We all have certain things that we have to do in order for the business to function better. But everybody may not be good in a certain area. There's so many departments. Put people in the areas where that fits them. That makes the company better. Come on, man. Like me running businesses made me really realize that like that may not be their strength. You gonna terminate them? A person that got to feed they fit. Anyways, I stopped working there after that. Like I was like, at this point, like I started looking for other stuff. I stopped working there, and this was around peak season. So I was working overtime. But this was a peak season, and at the time they was only paying like $11.25, so it wasn't even really worth it in my opinion. So I left, right? Started working, doing my own thing, living the best way I can, just trying to make ends meet. With my then wife at the time, and just kind of going with the flow. 2 years later, I end up moving to Charlotte, right? End up moving to Charlotte the second time, right? The second time I was being introduced to Amazon. At this point, they've already expanded. They got warehouses in different locations. Charlotte is one of them. They don't have a lot of facilities at this point, but they have like one, maybe two. So I ended up working at Amazon because I kept seeing, at this time I'm in a new area. So I need money again. So I know that they always hiring, and it's not a long process. One thing I can say, one of the positives is that if you need to make money, you need a job. As long as you meet the qualifications, they get you in. You know that they get you in. You can get paid. Start getting paid like that. At this time, they pay $11.75 at the time. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they pay like $11.70 time, and I was doing part time because I still was doing my entrepreneurial thing. I'm making money on the side, hustling, not hustling in a legal way. With my cleaning business, Ubering, stuff like that, selling cars and stuff. So I was hustling, grinding that way. I only did part-time. This is where things got real. Started getting real. Okay, so follow me. So the second time I started working there, I was working there, did the orientation. They took me to like a hotel lobby area where they do like, a lot of hotels, they do like workshops, host workshops at and stuff. So they took me to this lobby, talked to me about the training and stuff like that. Sorry, I got a call. Took me to the orientation. Started doing the orientation thing, and I started working. I was working at night, and I was working there for about 2 hours before they told me that I wasn't in the system for whatever reason. So I'm like, well, I wasn't in the system. So they said, it was third shift. So they said you just have to call them in the morning and see why you're not in the system, but you're not in our system. So I end up calling someone about it, pretty much. I don't really remember exactly what happened because it was so long ago. But that's essentially what I did was I was calling around. They got chat support, they got phone support, they got email support. Now at this time, they transitioned to other ways. Like they didn't have like an actual office that you can go to for HR and stuff like that. Everything was offline. Everything was virtual. So they outsourced a lot of people overseas and stuff like that. And the reason why I'm bringing up, I don't have no problem with foreigners. The reason why I bring that up is because if I have an issue at a facility and they forward me to call one of you guys overseas, you have no idea what's going on over here in the States because they don't communicate what's going on when it comes to these problems, right? So I got to explain what my issue is, and they always, whenever I go to them, they always refer me to the person who referred me to them. So it was like back and forth, like no one knew what was going on. They always frustrated me. But anyway, they basically telling me, yeah, you're not showing in the system. We're going to have to reschedule you for another date. So I got to wait like a whole 2 weeks before they do another orientation pretty much. So I already have an understanding. Plus, I worked there already. I worked there in Hebron, and I worked there for 2 hours. So I got to get trained again, pretty much. Got to get trained again. So I'm like, all right, I got to go to another orientation. So technically, if you want to be technical, I worked there 5 times. So they rescheduled me for a third time. They rescheduled me the second time. They rescheduled me, right? And I started to work there. Let me rewind a little bit. I was getting ready to start orientation for the new date that they sent me. The day before I was supposed to work, they said, hey, you don't have to come in tomorrow. We overbooked. We're going to reschedule you for another day. So I'm like, damn, again? So I'm like, all right, whatever. It is what it is. Okay? I need the money. Let's do it. Whatever. So they rescheduled me. Listen to this, y'all. They rescheduled me for another day. I go in. Mind you, I'm already trying to communicate with them, just letting them know what's going on. And I can't really remember what happened through chat support or email support, but nothing getting resolved. And they always take really long to get in contact with. Like when you call them, you're on hold forever. When you email them, they take forever. And when you chat with them, they take forever. They take a long time. But anyways, I go in the new date. And I got copies of this, right, that I can show them. So I go in the new date. The same guy, he already knew my situation is. He was like, yeah, it looks like you're listed as a no-call, no-show. And he knows something wrong because he know I was there before. The same guy, like, damn, I don't know what they doing, man. I know you was working here. Like, they got you listed as a no-call, no-show. And I'm like, and at this time, I forgot to mention, I was getting text messages about being no-call, no-show. That's why throughout this time, I forgot to mention throughout this time, I was talking to them like, why y'all texting me telling me I'm a no-call, no-show? They basically brushing it off saying, come on in. They listed me as a no-call, no-show when they told me not to show up. So I'm like, this is unorganized. This is what I'm thinking. This is unorganized. Am I going to get paid? Because I don't even know if I'm going to get paid for the 2 hours that I was working. I ended up getting paid, I think. But I'm like, this is so unorganized. Like people in Jamaica and the Philippines don't know what's going on in the States. They don't know, like they missing dates. They got me listed in the system as a no call, no show. and they telling me that they can't fix it. If it's listed in the computer as a no call, no show, there's nothing that they can do at that point. And I have to apply within 3 to 6 months or something like that. I got to apply within 90. I have to wait 90 days or something like that. So I'm like, that's a dub. I'm not worried. I'm not working it no more. I was already upset, so I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm gonna do something else, right? I can find jobs like that quickly. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna grind and find another opportunity. I ain't gonna work here no more. But then I went in the third time. This third time, well, technically I was supposed to work before. I was supposed to work before then. I'm trying to find something. Oh yeah. I was supposed to work there a third time, but I didn't. They told me that I needed to, again, that no call, no show shit came up. So that didn't work out. And I ended up getting another job, so I stopped worrying about it. But I did it the last time. This is the final time. This is in 2020, because that was like 2 years ago. That was like in 2017 or whatever like that, right? And I was supposed to work there a bunch of times before then, because like I said, I needed the money, and I live alone now. I live alone, so I have to find opportunities fast, and I needed something that I was tired of working 2 full-time jobs. Obligations don't care, right? And I'm investing into a business. I'm doing my business thing, because I'm not a 9-to-5 person. Like, I'm a terrible employee. But at the end of the day, obligations don't work for you. I still gotta live. I'm in the city by myself for the most part, so I gotta do what I gotta do. I'm in survival mode at this point, unfortunately. So at this time. Again, I'm older, I'm wiser, so even though I catch on slow, I can catch on a lot quicker because I have so much experience now. So I'm like, let me try this one more time, right? And this time, it's a lot more different, because now it's a pandemic going on. And I already see people going on strike. Amazon is hiring like crazy because people quitting and all this other stuff, and they still got a lot of orders. Amazon is really, really successful company, so they're always getting orders. They always need people. And I've seen people going on strike and stuff like that because of the COVID-19. I don't look at COVID-19 the same way a lot of people do, because I feel like the media pushes it to make us more paranoid than we actually need to be. But that's another story. Even though I do respect it, I do take it seriously, but I feel like it's being pushed very heavily. So I was just like, I need the bread. They pay enough. At this time, they now paying $16 an hour, $16, $17 an hour, depending on what shift, and depending on $15 to $17 an hour. Now, I don't know where you at, but based on where I'm at, that's good money. That's decent money. $16, $17 an hour, you can feed your family for the most part. With $16, $17 an hour. Average is like $11, $12. So when you go up that amount, you like, that's not bad, especially because they got overtime a lot of the times. So it pays well. And with that job, if I just work that, I can have one job. I don't need 2 full-time jobs, and I work only 4 days a week. So if I work 4 days a week and I work enough to where I can pay for all of my bills and stuff with one job, I can spend the first 4 days working on my business so I can transition into full-time entrepreneurship. So that was my thought process if I did well, because I'm not a good employee, and I always get fired and laid off from my production because nobody knows how to train me the way that I need to be trained. It's not that I don't show up, it's that I just don't know how to be trained, right? So that's another story. But anyways, I start working there. Guys, this is one of the reasons why I stopped working there. I still got the badge. This place fucking sucks. As an employee, it sucks. Pays well, but they are so unorganized, y'all. It's ridiculous how unorganized. They real organized when it comes to tracking your points, because they got this dumb point system. They will terminate your ass with the quickness. They real organized on you calling off, you not doing what you're supposed to do, you not taking all of the safety measures. They will fire your ass in a heartbeat. But when it comes to getting the proper training, finding a department that fits you, even if they have an opening, if you already hired on and they put you in another department, ain't no switching. From my experience, maybe for somebody that used to work there, but ain't no switching. Ain't no switching where I was when I was coming in. Each time I came in, ain't no switching. You got this shift, you got the front end, you got the back end. I was working the third shift. The last 2 times I was doing third shift. This time was the third full-time shift, where it was 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Y'all, when I tell you this company is unorganized from an employee standpoint with these staffing agencies that they hire for and them as an overall company, let me put it this way. I work Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Those 4 days, if I remember correctly. Just the strength of that sucks, first of all. Because you got my weekdays and you got my weekends. All of my weekends. So when I want to spend time with my family, I can't. Or holler at my friends or something like that, or my loved ones, I can't because they at work. They at work, and you got all my weekends. You got some of my weekdays. And if something were to change 3 to 4 months from now, where I need at least one of those days, you're not going to give them to me for the most part. From my experience. Maybe for you, different. For me, my experience was different. My experience was like that. They don't care. They look at you as a number at Amazon, as an associate. So that was that. And then they are so unorganized with the training, guys. Like, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday was my schedule. They had trainers in there that was working different days. So I would mind you, it was an orientation. I had a class full of new hires. I was in a specific class, like a classroom setting, where they talk to you about the training, talk to you about the policies and procedures and different ways on how they can fire your ass. So parking, security came in and talked to us, all of that, right? But they had different trainers for different days. So somebody be working. So my schedule was considered the back end, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And they might have a trainer come in Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Right? So I come in on Thursday, they won't be there tomorrow. Or they might have somebody there Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Saturday. So they might have different trainers come in at different days. That was so fucking exhausting because they didn't communicate with each other. So we had to reintroduce ourselves every day, pretty much. Every fucking day we had to introduce ourselves because they didn't know what was going on. They didn't know what was being trained on. And on top of that, I got locked out of my computer. Because they got all these long training modules. The trainers don't even know what's in the training module because they change all the fucking time. With all these staffing agencies, and Amazon don't really communicate with the staffing agency like that. They just unorganized in that department. So my computer got locked out because I was putting in my password too many times, to be honest, because I was trying to get through the training as quickly as I can. I was working on my break. So I'm like, man, I want to get through this training because we had to individually do this training ourselves. And I'm like, I was trying to do this on my break and I got locked out. So IT was out. It was conflicting schedules. So IT wasn't there. IT was the only person that could reset my password and my supervisor. But check this out. The supervisor that they had me under no longer worked there. But that was the only person that can change my password. So they have like a supervisor, like a general manager. One of the managers over the whole facility couldn't change my password because I wasn't under her. Okay. Peep that. Like, you hear what I'm saying? Like, the person that was supposed to train me, the person that had access to my password no longer worked there. Not even at that facility for the company. Nigga don't even work. Nigga can be working at Bob Evans now, and he the person that could change my stuff. So I'm like, and IT wasn't there, so I have to wait 24 hours, to log in to get my stuff reset. Mind you, another orientation class came in. So now my class that I came in originally with is on the floor working, and I'm sitting in there with new people and listening to them re-explain all of these ways that you can get fired again. Like, I'm like, this is fucking. It made me feel like it. I feel like I got. You know what? It made me feel like. It felt like I was in school and I got held back a grade. Like that's what it felt like. I'm like, bro, like it was ridiculous. It was very frustrating for me. I'm not gonna lie. I was very irritated, but I didn't really show that. But I was very irritated. So I went in. So I'm doing that, right? End up getting logged in, doing that, and at this point, we like a lot of us are some people. It was like one girl. This girl cannot shut up. She was a new hire. I couldn't stand her. She was like she was educating the trainers that was coming in on different days, on different stuff. Like she was because we was around so many people overhearing them gossip and stuff like that. We could tell them what was going on. They was not communicating with each other at all when it comes to these training things. Like they was telling us that we got trained. Like they was telling us, okay, guys, it's time to get. I was doing picking where I get on the machine and pick the items. So I go way up in the aisles. Mind you, I'm bad at picking. Every job I was at, I was horrible at picking. But I was on the picking machine, and you have to get trained on that. Now we already was trained on it, but the trainer comes in and is like, okay, guys, now you guys got to get trained on the picking machine. They're like, we already been trained on that. Okay, well, what did you guys do? What kind of picking? Because they got different things that we had to do with the machine. And they're like, well, we ain't do this, we ain't do that. And we had to break it down. It was just exhausting. But long story short, because I feel like I'm kind of going back and forth. So follow me. I'm sorry if I'm ranting. I ended up getting trained on the picking machine. I was good enough to pass it. Now I was on the floor at that point. Even though it took forever, I ended up being on the floor. I'm not good with sequences and numbers and things where I have to remember a lot. I'm not good with that. So they got different things. You got to hook this thing to your back. Otherwise, they're going to terminate your ass because of certain security purposes. There's so many things that you can do. And I'm just not good on the machines like that, to be honest with you. So they had this person they call it a watcher, where they will go through, they would have somebody on this cart. And they would sit there in the middle of these long aisles. They would sit in the middle of the aisle and they would watch you to see if you have any questions and stuff like that. Wasn't really a big help because he was barely there. He would just he would go in and out and check on me every once in a while. Mind you, you got a certain pace that you got to maintain for you got to maintain. If you are failing to meet your requirements when it comes to processing those items, guess what? You get rolled up and you get fired, right? So I've been fired and laid off for production, just production alone, so many times because that's not my strong suit. I already start planning ahead. I already start looking at jobs because I can't just be left out stranded. So I'm already looking for other jobs. I already found something else at that point, so I end up leaving. Right, it's something else that I want to I wanted to mention, but I can't really remember right now. But so far, that's my experience. Right, that's been my experience. They were just real unorganized. Oh yeah. So when I quit, right, this how organized they are. They organize when it benefits them. But matter of fact, let me go back. I think. Oh yeah, you can get fired for not having a mask throughout the pandemic, right? You can get fired for not mask. They see without your mask. They say it's for safety, right? They make sure everybody is safe. But I personally think the reason why they saying that is because they got so much flack for not for closing the facility and cleaning the facility. They want to always keep on working. They ain't closing shit down. So they was cleaning they was getting flack, and people were doing strikes in like Jersey and stuff like that. To the point where they was just like, all right, we got to do something. So now they got all of these policies and procedures in place for you to make you feel like you're more comfortable or whatever. That's the reason why I think it is because of that, personally, because they don't want to be held liable. That's just my opinion. That's how I feel. I don't think it's because they genuinely care about you. Otherwise, they wouldn't be handling things the way that they be handling it, in my personal opinion. So look, I end up quitting, right? I quit 2 days ago, and they still was calling me saying, hey, we seen that you haven't showed off. You got 2 points so far. We were seeing if you plan on going into work. I told them twice I was not about to come in. I told them I quit twice. They called me twice, and I told you, hey, I quit. I got something else. It's not a fit for me. I'm not doing it. They kept calling me because they didn't know. Like, they didn't know. Like, but they was calling me when I didn't show up. Cause they definitely got that on pat. Like when it comes to them, you not showing up, they will quickly give you them points. So if I was at 6 points, they already know what was up. But I told them already that I wasn't gonna show up. So they just really unorganized, right? And that's kind of like my overall experience as an employee there. All right. So I know I was all over the place and I was talking for a while. But I just had to give y'all a game of my experience working there, because it was definitely an experience, and I would not work there anymore. I don't give a fuck if they hiring $45 an hour and you work 1 day a week. I'm not working there no more. But as an employee, as an associate or a contractor or something like that, we can talk about that, because they're not a bad company in that regard. They get you your items fast. You can get almost anything you want. Most of the furniture, and I did a video on my top 5 favorite Amazon items. It's in the description below if you're watching us on YouTube. Everything that y'all see in my apartment, I got from Amazon. My hats, I'm getting ready to resell. Got them from Amazon. That carpet, Amazon. These sheets with the orange, because everything is orange, color coordinated. Amazon. My earrings, Amazon. Everything from Amazon. So I don't think they're a bad company, but from an employee standpoint, Amazon, if you guys are watching this, I really hope that you guys start making the employees there feel like they're people and not numbers, because you guys got so many policies and procedures to terminate them, but you don't have enough policies and procedures to train them properly and make sure they're a good fit for the role that you're putting them in, because everybody's different. You may have a good employee in a certain area. A person may not be good at picking, but you have a person that may be good at assembly. They may be better at that. They may not be good at picking, doing hazmat material, but they are good at picking. They're good at picking on the machine, or they're good at. It's just so many things. They may not be good at picking that. They may be good at stowing material. You don't know. You just firing them. So I hope y'all change that from an employee standpoint, because I always need people. Make them want to stay. You got people quitting, getting paid $16 to $20 an hour, quitting after a week. Quit after a fucking week, because they're miserable. Why are they miserable? You got people. You treating people like felons. I felt like I was in jail when I was working there. I had to get up out of there, man. But I'm glad I got that experience. Thank you guys for watching. Alright. Please make sure that you support this channel. You watch this channel. Because if you give back to me, I give back to you. Peace. Hair. Grease.